folks, back with another episode. Truly appreciate you all rocking with me. This channel is still kind of brand new. I started it in January, and like, it may not be a lot to others, but it's a lot to me. I appreciate any type of view, any type of comment I've been receiving. I truly appreciate anybody subscribing. So if this is your first time here, let's keep this party going. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. You know the slogan, if you've been here before, I like to talk to the camera. Hopefully you guys talk back in the comments. Let's go. Hyped about this particular show I'm talking about. Now this show's been on, I want to say it's like, maybe like it's like the 5th or 6th episode. I lost count. I want to say it's the 6th episode. But talking about Winning Time today. And I'll be the first to say it. When I first saw the trailer and when it first came out, I didn't give it a shot. I didn't even look at it. I probably didn't give it a shot until maybe 4 episodes in. And yeah, I'm hooked. Winning Time is a good show. First of all, it's a who's who of just familiar faces and actors and actresses throughout this whole series. You have John C. Reilly, who plays Jerry Buss, and it's just a whole biopic about how the Lakers became the Lakers, or you know, how they became the Showtime Lakers. So once again, John C. Reilly is playing Jerry Buss. You have Quincy Isaiah, which I must admit I'm not too familiar with his work, but he's bodying the role as Magic Johnson. Devon Nixon, Devon Nixon. If you're familiar with Snowfall, then you're familiar with Devon Nixon. He plays Kane in Snowfall, and in this show Winning Time, he plays his father, Norm Nixon, who was Magic Johnson's teammate. Kind of got jealous of Magic Johnson because, you know, he drafted the same position. Norm Nixon was the point guard before Magic Johnson came along. But just a who's who of faces. Adrian Brody is playing Pat Riley. I think his name is Michael Chiklis is playing Red Auerbach, you know, the legendary coach for the Celtics. It's like once again, just a who's who or a yearbook of like just actors and familiar faces and so forth. Wood Harris is playing Spencer Haywood. So that's the first thing. There's so many familiar faces that you'll see. I know I'm missing a ton of names, but that's how many people are in this. Jason Segel as Paul Westhead. But nevertheless, it's just a long grocery list of familiar names and faces if you aren't familiar with the name. So that's one thing I liked about it. It's just definitely, it's almost like anybody who's anybody is in this series. And on top of that, I don't consider myself like an NBA junkie, but I do consider myself, you know, like maybe the level above your casual NBA fan. And granted, I was born in 1983, you know, and this story took place, I believe 1979 is when Magic Johnson first got drafted. But nevertheless, I wasn't familiar. I really didn't get into the NBA or get into basketball until, I don't know, I was like 4th grade or so, 3rd, 4th grade. And that was, you know, when Michael Jordan was taking things over. That was when, you know, the Dream Team was whooping everybody's ass by like 50 points. So I'm not familiar with all of like the role players and stuff like that when Magic Johnson first came in. Like the only thing I knew about in the Showtime Lakers is Magic Johnson, Pat Riley, of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy. I knew about the main names that you know about if you're an NBA fan. But like the Spencer Haywoods and the Norm Nixons, I ain't gonna front, I wasn't familiar with those. You know, I was even familiar with Michael Cooper, but for example, Spencer Haywood and Norm Nixon, really didn't know too much knowledge about it. And another thing, I wasn't familiar with Jack McKinney is apparently the coach who initially started the Showtime Lakers as far as that, you know, philosophy of basketball style. I thought it was Pat Riley this whole time. So it was also informative if you think you know basketball, such as myself. I thought I knew basketball, but apparently I didn't. There was a lot more that basketball stuff I needed to know. Now granted, this is a dramatization of the Showtime Lakers, so some of the behind the scenes drama and so forth maybe didn't go down like the way this show was going, but nevertheless, it's very entertaining. As I mentioned, Quincy Isaiah is killing this role. And I know sometimes controversy sells and things of that nature, which brings you to another reason why I finally decided to watch it. And yes, it is good. It is damn good. So good that it's already renewed for a second season. But when it first was talked about that this was coming out, Magic Johnson and Jerry West both, you know, were pretty public about their disapproval of this show particularly coming out, or this biopic, whatever you want to call it. And I understand it. It's like, for Magic Johnson's case, like, it's different when I tell my story, right? If I tell my story, like, yeah, you know, I caught HIV, you know, I had, you know, 6, 7 girls in every city I flew in, this and the third. Like, I wasn't no Will Chamberlain, but damn it, I was in the ballpark. I understand. If I tell my story, that's one thing. But when you got someone else telling your story, especially that you know, maybe you didn't get, you know, they didn't ask you for permission in the first place, I can see why that could be upsetting. And same thing for Jerry West, which, although there is a very, very good 3-part YouTube series that I did see, just about like the background, like just the whole dark side of the Showtime Lakers. And you know, it was true. You know, something that it was true as far as how Jerry West was kind of like this perfectionist asshole, miserable person who just wanted everything to be perfect. When he was a head coach of the Lakers at one point, you know, this dark side of the Showtime Lakers was also talking about, once again, it's been proven fact anyway, you know, dives deep about, you know, the type of things that Magic got into in terms of women. So I understand why they disapprove of this series, but it's damn good. It is damn good. And I'm glad they got to a second season, because at first I thought, which it still could be the case, to my knowledge, this was like a limited series, and maybe I'm just unfamiliar. When I hear a limited series, I automatically just think it's going to be one season for some reason. But and when I thought that at first, I was like, well, damn, there's so much more stuff that they could, you know, throw in there. You know, so how they gonna get all this in one season? And newsflash, once again, they're coming back with a second season. That's how popular the show is. So there's some other things I just, you know, can't wait to see how they approach things or tackle. Of course, the big thing is going to be the announcement of Magic Johnson catching HIV. But the other thing that I'm looking forward to winning time, you know, covering, at least in this, you know, not fictional, but at least in this dramatized, you know, version of the Showtime Lakers, I want to see how they tackle the infamous house parties that Magic Johnson used to throw. For those who are unfamiliar, it's been confirmed by several players and so forth who've been interviewed that Magic Johnson used to throw the wildest house parties. And there was one rule. It's like, by midnight, everybody got to be smashing it. Everybody got to be having sex. So by midnight, you got coupled up with a girl, and whoever you talking to or enjoying a conversation with by midnight, y'all got to be smashing. If y'all ain't having sex, Magic Johnson would come through, see what's the problem, and the girl, the woman, or women, you know, would be thrown out the party, and they were no longer allowed to come to a Magic Johnson party. So that's how Magic Johnson and the Showtime Lakers was giving it up. As I mentioned, I'll leave some of the, video cards, so you can see this other documentary, once again, called The Dark Side of the Showtime Lakers. But this is not necessarily a spoiler alert, because this is a true story about how, you know, the rise of the Lakers. And so this is just a phenomenal show. I want to say I'm like 5 episodes in, and you just kind of see the other things that was going on with Magic, as far as, you know, his kind of off and on love story with Cookie, you know, his wife now. Just the type of, once again, how he, not how he got into women, but just how he was, you know, knocking them down, knocking women down. He's definitely talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and about some of the stances that he took when it came to social justice. It covers every damn thing, man. This show was amazing. So from this point forward, I definitely will be, doubling back, and at least from this point forward until the end of the season, I will be doing some recap of shows of the Winning Time Lakers. But once again, I just wanted to give like a quick overview of this particular show that I definitely have to watch now, or that I have been watching now. So next time you see me put this video up, it's going to be a recap of the latest episode. And yeah, definitely check it out if you're a basketball fan, especially if you're somebody who's in my same caliber of basketball knowledge. Like I said, I never even knew Jack McKinney is the mastermind behind the Showtime Lakers offense. Definitely had no idea who Noam Nixon was, no idea who Spencer Haywood was, any of that type of stuff. Should my basketball card be taken away? Nah, slow down. But I just didn't know any of the role players and stuff like that. I just knew the main names and all that. But nevertheless, check it out. It's on HBO Max. Comes out every Sunday. Once again, I think it's great TV. All the type of big time drama behind the scenes and the front office is just amazing to watch. This is just my opinion. Love it or hate it. Peace.